because he's been on stage with me since 3 a.m. Give it up. He's gone through at least 2 tuxedo shirts already today. Give it up for the Thunder conductor, Dr. Dave Giovanni. This is the Butch and Butch part of the show. First up, former member, Cold Front, Butch Groundhog. And the other Butchie, you can be his wingman. No, he can be yours. This is Iceman, Butch Philibert. Give it up for the big man, Rob McCoy, Downpour. Josh Farkas is Frostbite. It's fitting that we say hello to Jory Siriann. He's Daybreaker. Robbie Gemmell is Storm Builder. The guy standing way up there is Dr. John Johnson, Chief Health Man. Also with us this morning was Jason Grusky, Big Chill. Well, he's seated at the left hand of the Father. The future is clear, but Jay Lundy is overcast. Former president, give it up for Jeff Lundy, fair weather man. Pat Cassidy is the head huntsman. And Pat Osakowitz, Ozone. And I know you've been waiting patiently, so for our ceremony, give it up. Your friend, our friend, his handler, Mr. AJ DeRoom, Rainmaker. And heavy weighs the acacia cane, the president of the Groundhog Club Inner Circle is Tom Dunkel, Shingle Shaker.
I want to talk about this cane is handed down from president to president. My father once held this very cane as president of the Inner Circle. This cane gives me the ability to speak Groundhogese. That's how I communicate with Phil, through winks, nods, purrs. And Phil's gonna let me know which scroll to choose. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going to happen up here today. I'm going to take this cane and I'm going to knock on the burrow door 3 times. And his handler, AJ DeRoom, will gently lift Phil from his burrow and hold him high for all to see. He will then place Phil upon the stump, where Phil and I will have a little talk about whether he sees his shadow or not. If it's his shadow he sees, 6 more weeks of winter there will be. If there's no shadow, early spring. Daybreaker, please place the royal red carpet. Mr. Vice President, please place the scrolls upon the stump. Gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It's a tradition. Before we get Phil out, we get him fired up by chanting, Phil, 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 Phil. That's Punxsutawney Phil! Gentlemen, gather round. Okay, we have a decision.
A prediction has been made, Mr. President. Hear ye, hear ye! Now on this February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, prognosticator of all prognosticators, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in Groundhogese, directed the president to the proper scroll, which reads, "Another winter's slumbered pause so I could meet the crowd. Hard to sleep anyway when the party's this loud. I envy your energy. I envy the fun. I envy all of you and your opposable thumbs. But it's not what I feel, it's what I see and what you hear, so gather round and let me be clear. Atmosphere is a wonderful thing, and we can create our own and the weather it brings. It brings hope for the future and so much more. Maybe some Punxsutawney Phil write-in votes in 2024. But what this weather did not provide is a shadow or reason to hide. Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
Well, shock me, why don't you? I didn't expect that. The groundhog not seeing his shadow this morning as we were joining them live there in Pittsburgh this morning. Wow. Punxsutawney Phil did not see his shadow. Will it hold true? We'll see. I can't remember the last time that we had that happen. Usually it's 6 more weeks of winter no matter what. So there you go. That's what is said this morning when it comes to the groundhog. What do y'all think? Is it true or not? We'll see about this. That's where it is this morning. I do hope your day is going well for you. As we begin it, we're going to have your forecast here in just a moment to let you know what is in store. And I'll give you a hint. It's going to be warm today, sunshiny. The wind's going to be very calm. So it's perfect if you've got something to do outside. Tomorrow night, that will change as rain moves in. Sunday rain moves in, and, well, it's going to be flash flooding. So do what you have to do today and during the daylight hours tomorrow. All that changes after dark tomorrow night. We'll be right back with your forecast, but first we got to go get that good word of the day. We have to start it right every day. Let's go to Collinsville, to the First Baptist Church.
Hey, I've got a secret to tell you. Can you keep a secret? Has anybody ever said something to you like that? How did you respond? Well, the right answer is, yes, I can keep the secret you're about to tell me, but I don't know if I should keep it. You see, there are some things that just should not be kept secret, especially those things that are wicked. In fact, the Holy Spirit through Apostle Paul tells us in Ephesians 5 that not only are we to not take part in deeds of darkness, but we're to expose them. That means that if we know about them, we cannot keep them secret. Beloved, there are some things that just must be exposed, and to keep them a secret is sinful. The unloving thing to do is to let that thing stay hidden in the cover of secrecy. And the loving thing to do is to drag it out into the open and expose it, which is exactly what the Bible calls us to do. And when it's exposed to the light, it can be dealt with as it should be. I know exposing a secret's not easy, but it's right and good. So may we do what's right for the good of those around us. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. I do hope you got a good word out of that. Give you some inspiration, as we all need that from time to time, don't we? We're getting ready for the morning show that will begin at 7 o'clock. We're a 3 minutes early today as we join the live broadcast there of Punxsutawney Phil, who did not see his shadow if you're just joining us. So that's the way we start out this February the 2nd, 2024. Been going on for a long time. As we look at headlines across America this morning, JetBlue on a flight from London to New York City. As we often see, there's problems on flights, and yet this one had that. When a passenger became unruly, it got so bad that passengers took possession of the person, held them down until they landed where police could take custody of the person. Airplanes are not the place to do that. People are trying to get home, wherever they have to go for business, and things like that break out. We see that all too often. Now, as we go to New York, we've often seen to where they wanted to be the sanctuary city for illegal immigrants. And yes, I said the word illegal. And they accepted them in, gave them safe places where they couldn't be arrested. As we saw, NYPD police officer this week attacked. It was 4 or 5 that attacked that were all illegal. The governor now saying that those who did this should be deported. What a U-turn. Until we start doing our laws, we're going to continue to have crime, and we all know that. It's a few that doesn't get it. We have rules for a reason. When you don't make everyone abide by them is when things, go off the track. Then you have cities that are overrun by crime. Well, y'all know the rest. We see that a 50-year-old cold case file has been solved in Colorado this morning as they found a woman's killer after 50 years. And you guessed it, it's that magic word, DNA has solved the crime. That's awful that something like that. She was found dead in 1975. We're glad that all of that has been put to rest. And I see with this next one, now we don't have a lot of this in Mississippi. We have a few. Jackson, Mississippi has some. We used to have in Meridian, and I see less and less, but they're out there. Cabs. The only town that I've ever been in, wait a minute, I take that back. I've been in 2 cabs in my life. Once in Nashville and once in New Orleans. Wait a minute, it wasn't Nashville, it was Dallas is where I was. But nonetheless, it's been so few times it was hard for me to remember where I rode in a cab. But unions, they're pushing back. They're not at all happy over the chance that, these self-driving cars would take over. Do you realize how many jobs that would take out for cab drivers? The yelling and screaming and, all of that? They don't want it to happen. The union is pushing back on this. What will become of it? That would put a lot of people out of job. I had not thought of that. As we look at the WWE, it could get bigger. Now, I'm not a fan of wrestling. I've always looked at it as, that's not real. I think a lot of Americans feel that way. But it's getting ready to get bigger as they remove the head of the organization that owns it. Mahoney, he's involved in some situations, we won't get into. But they're looking to put this on Netflix to take wrestling a step higher. Anybody ready for it? I always think of wrestling as Saturday morning and somebody drinking a can of beer going, yay. That's just what I got in my head. They jump off ropes and throw people down, and, it just doesn't look real to me. It's hard for me to buy into it. But there are those that love it, so we'll leave it at that. Disney is going to try to crack down just like Netflix did on user sharing of passwords. You buy the service, you give it to your kid, you give it to your friend. We'll see what becomes of that. They are attempting to crack down on that as well as this. This is where things are really bad. And what was the movie that had Bruce Willis in it? And I'm trying to think of it. Pulp Fiction. Anybody ever watch that? To where they had a police officer that was, crooked is the word, among other things. As we see that an ex-St. Louis officer has been accused of sexually assaulting 11 more detained men. Pulp Fiction had that scene, if y'all remember. It did. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. I won't even go into my thoughts on that. Trump, of course, not on the Nevada primary. They have two elections there. It's very confusing. Don't pay much attention to that. It will be South Carolina, as in some polls we're seeing that Trump is 60 points ahead of Nikki Haley. When it happens, and we know what will happen, we'll report that to you also. Alaska. Man, I know a lot of folks who've been there. I never have. People take cruises. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, I get confused on when it's daylight and when it's dark, but it's that way for 6 months on each way, if I remember right. It's so cold in snowy Alaska that fuel oil is thickening and roofs are collapsing. That's cold. A lot of snow up there. All I can say, I sure like Mississippi this time of year. I'm just not cut out for that. A lot of you are. A lot of you love that. Let's see what else we've got going on today as we go to Florida. Tragedy struck yesterday. Have you seen this? A small plane crashed yesterday into a Florida mobile home park and exploded in a huge fireball. That is awful as we go through this rubbish of this. And most of the flights that we do see are privately owned planes. Not to say that a big plane cannot have a problem, but usually, as we see it here, it's a smaller plane, and the maintenance and things aren't done as much when it comes to these planes. Not saying that's what caused this. I'm just saying a jet airliner that is run by a company is checked daily, probably, to where a privately owned isn't. We see more problems out of it that era. We'll be right back. We're going into the forecast to get your day started here at the Scotty Ray Report, and we'll tell you all about what happened in Meridian, Mississippi yesterday as a police officer has been shot. All those details are coming up at 7. I hope you'll join us for that and so much more as we start this day together. We'll be right back.
Sanders Gas, Sanders Air and Heat is your full-service propane supplier since 1946. We take pride in ensuring reliable, friendly service to our customers. We also provide safety tune-ups related to propane, air conditioning, and heating systems, keeping our community efficient and safe. I'm Chuck Sanders, and yes, we're local.
The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. And welcome to the Toyota Meridian Studio. We're glad that you come along with us this morning as we begin this. Let's get into our forecast now, find out what's going to happen today.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we look back at our record highs and record lows, 1990, it was 81 degrees. Woof, what a warm day it was. Back in 51, a low of 8. Chilly it was. As we look across today, look at this, 70 to 71 in areas across the state of Mississippi. We'll see that in Meridian all the way due west to Vicksburg, rising to 71 up and down the Mississippi River. As we go northward, we will see 68, 69, even to the south, still 71 in the Hattiesburg area. That is warm. Warm it is. And as we see now, the groundhog did not see his shadow. Wow. As we look at Alabama, pretty much the same, anywhere from 69 to 67 across the great state of Alabama, hovering at 68 in Birmingham. As we look at this threat, and we want to remind you of this, the weather is going to be beautiful today. It will be tomorrow. It will be when dark arrives that we will start seeing flash flooding late in the evening there into Sunday. 90% chance of rain Saturday night into Sunday. It's going to be wet. 1 to 2 inches of rain in less than 3 hours. Now, that's coming down. Again, don't cross any roadway that's got water across it. You never know what's been washed out. We want to make sure that you get there safe. As we see the temperature still warm. We're going to see this 70-degree weather stuff for a little while. Bring in these storms. You don't get this warm in February without a storm brewing. As we look here at the forecast, here it is. 70 today, 41 for a low tonight. We move across for 65 when it comes to tomorrow. Only a 10% chance during the daytime hours. As we get into tomorrow night is when the rain moves in. 90% chance extending into Sunday, as you'll see at least 10 degrees difference, if not more. 54 for a high on Sunday. We'll see 55 on Monday. As we start to back away and the rain moves out, we move into the 60s. Once again, look at this, 66 on Thursday. That's going on all the way to February the 16th. If you're going out on Valentine's Day, not bad. Sunny and 58. 68 on the 11th. Looks like we'll have a little rain there. And again, back into those 70-degree weathers next weekend also. Then we're into the 50s. We're just showing thunderstorm activity. It's just kind of scary. When will it get cold? We'll watch this. This is 2 weeks out is what we're looking at. February's not over. We'll see what becomes of that last half of this with the weather. Fishing, major time, began at 4:30 this morning, ran to 6:30. You'll get another chance this afternoon around dark 30, around 5. Big thanks to Chet's. If you're into fishing today, go enjoy it. And you should be having a good day to fish since the weather is going to be nice and sunny. Wind's going to be calm today. Did I mention that? That works out pretty good. So no problems there as we begin this. Let's go to radar, pull this up this morning and show you what we've got. Some fog starting to show up as we got advisories in Louisiana. Let's pull up Meridian Honda radar. That's what we have. Look at this. As we go to Baton Rouge, north of Slidell, around Hammond, Louisiana. If you're going to be traveling Highway 12, be careful. That's very foggy. You'll pick it up in Mississippi around Picayune. I've stopped there to eat several times, so be careful there. We even got a lot of fog happening here in Lafayette as you get near that Texas line, so be careful in those areas as we move up. As we look at Meridian here, we're looking at 37 right now on the thermometer. As we go to Philadelphia, we'll see that it's 37 there as well. It could be showing a little bit more cooler where you are. Mississippi State, in this area, about 36 this morning as we look across the state. Still these flood watches, flood watch up here in northwest Mississippi around Tunica, those areas there. Several rivers have flood warnings out as we watch all of this. So that's where we are. We'll be kicking off the morning show here in just a few moments. Won't you join us? It's at 7 o'clock. And again, we're running a little earlier today due to the fact we went live earlier to bring in Punxsutawney Phil as he didn't see a shadow. That's the breaking news. We'll be right back as we begin this day together. Won't you join us? 7 o'clock it is, and we'll give you all the going on, what happened last night with the shooting at the Meridian Police Department. The unthinkable happened. We'll share all that information with you beginning at 7 this morning. We'll see you then.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.